So obviously I needed more boundaries and more, watching or whatever, but that's what I try to do in my treatment center and stuff like that. But obviously when you've got 7 or 8 people who can do whatever the hell they want and they're not going to get kicked out, that causes the chaos that we have on the show.
I mean, one of the things that I think is interesting, knowing you, I know that there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes than what you see on TV. And certainly you follow a lot of the clients that are on TV afterwards.
Well, see, and you were shocked when we had dinner tonight. I want the toughest of the tough. I want the Jason Davises. You know, that, and you and I have been working together the last year, and I take the toughest, the craziest people in the world, and I just won't give up on them.
You definitely have a patience and tolerance that is unlike any other I've seen.
So. And it's, so, I just think that I think most people that go to rehab that are cooperative and compliant and following along and doing all their assignments and doing everything, they don't even really need to go to treatment. There is 60-70% that kind of needs help and can be focused and needs the team approach. That's who rehab's for. The 20% that just do everything perfectly and follow along, they didn't need to go at all. I'm interested in that other 20% that are just such, unbelievable messes.
Well, how much of that do you think psychiatric, and how much of that do you think is addiction?
Psychiatric. A lot psychiatric and behavioral and personality driven. I mean, there's a lot of different levels to these people.
One of the things that Dr. Coe, who works with KLEAN,
I love that.
Yeah, we've been speaking a lot about what are the different personality types and traits, and should the type of addiction treatment that's put forward be the same for everybody, or should you treat people differently based on their personality traits?
And how can you do that in a group setting? Because they all set each other off, and that's what everybody reacts to at Celebrity Rehab. What you got to understand is a lot of days go on at Celebrity Rehab and nothing much happens. Everybody gets along. That's never on television.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Doesn't make good TV.
How long are they actually there for?
20 days, 21 days. 21st day is the graduation.
So that's not very long.
No, it's short term. Spin dry is what we call it.
Yeah, and the outcomes haven't been too good from what I've seen from, just watching on TV.
The outcomes in general treatment are not very good.
True.
All right? So the idea being the traditional 30-day model, I don't know who came up with it. It's stupid.
Insurance companies.
It's totally stupid. Yeah. I think Betty Ford came up with it, didn't they?
I think it's been a combination of different things, but yeah.
When I first started going to drug treatment, this is 90 days minimum. They wanted me to be there a year. I was like, a year? What are you talking about?
That happened to me too.
Right?
This time they said to me, there's nothing 30 days is going to do for you.
Yeah.
We think a year and a half. Thank God my father found that very excessive.
Can anybody meet criteria for admission to a drug and alcohol treatment and be well in 30 days?
No.
Then why is there a 30-day model?
It's largely been bred out of, like Judah said, insurance reimbursement. And if you look at the history of alcoholism, it was largely lumped in just with psychiatry. And so the scheduling of how long people would stay, initial lengths of stay, started at 30 days. And 30 days was really, in psychiatric hospitals, especially private psychiatric hospitals, was considered the evaluation and assessment period. And then the average length of stay would be a minimum of 90 days.
Yeah.
So, but because of economics and the marketplace, we've seen this shift where people think something miraculous is going to happen in 30 days, and that just isn't the case.
But I think it's more than what if you work? What do you do? If you got to get back to work.
Right. Well, I think that's why we're seeing a boom in outpatient treatment, and we're also seeing this move towards long-term monitoring, where people are monitored for an ongoing period of years.
Mm-hmm. Which is something we were talking about this week when I texted you yesterday, and I said, why isn't there life coaches in rehab? Why isn't there like life coaching as you're in rehab? Showing, when I was 20 and I got here, or whenever, I didn't know how to fill out applications. I didn't know. I wanted to go to school, but I didn't know what. How do you fill out a college application?
Well, if you can't fill out a college application, you might not go.
And actually, but that's true too. But I actually got in, but I just needed to be walked through the process a little bit.
Bob actually got into Cornell
University.
I
way into Cornell.
Yeah, he
was sharpen up a little bit, and I was snorting coke and drinking.
Well, here we are on KLEAN Radio. I'd really encourage people to call in. Our phone number is 877-830-830.
I think your mother will be proud of me tonight that I got that correct.
Yes, she will. So your mother and my mother will be proud of you.
They'll both be kveling, is the Yiddish word.
Very good.
Yes. Everybody out there in Los Angeles has learned a little Yiddish tonight.
If they remember it.
Kveling, it's sort of easy.
Why do you think so many people fail treatment?
Why do I think people fail treatment?
I know why I did.
Well, I think it's very difficult disease or illness or whatever you want to call it to overcome. I think that often...
Yeah, I think the bar is...
I didn't want to go.
Personally, I think the bar is held too high.
I don't believe most people that go to treatment want to go.
My experience is there tends to be a whole selection of people along a continuum of people that are really ready to get better and really need help and will get better. And then people that are there who are coerced through their family
like
or
me.
Through a set of circumstances and that, you know,
That's why
they're doing their time.
They used to call me the compliant client. That's what the counselors in rehab would call me, because I was one of those guys that I figured I'll just do whatever they say. You know, and I'm out of here in 30 days. They'll talk to my parents how well I'm doing.
Did you ever draw a picture of your God in one of the handbooks?
No, that wasn't one of the... I had like some... No, they never had me do that.
Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
Have you ever seen that, Andrew?
I'm sorry, what?
In some of the paperwork that came through via Cry Help, Lost and Seen Us, that one of the assignments is to draw a picture of your God. Pretty close.
No, but they had me like write 100 things that I was like powerless over. And I was like 100 things. And they always, the trick, it's like one of those trick questions, like the first thing you have to say is you know, or like, you know, it was like, and I was like 100 things I'm powerless over. What kind of crazy question is that?
You know, that's 12-step.
No, I don't even know if that to me is Hazelton Guy. Is Hazelton Guy.
It comes out of Hazelton's.
Right.
Yeah.
Hazelton's, you know, vast.
For those who don't know, Hazelton is, you know, the group that largely promotes most literature for AA.
It's like the Walmart guide to the 12 steps.
I one time was told, because I broke a rule, I had to write a 500-word essay on self-will run riot, and I wrote, I am self-will run riot, until it equaled out to 500 words.
We're going to be taking a break in a couple seconds here. We'd really welcome your calls. The phone number is 877-830-830. And we'll be back with Bob Forrest, and we also have a couple great comedians coming in. And here's a little Barbara Streisand for Bob.
I love her.
Sing it, Bob.
2, 1.
It's KLEAN Radio on AM 830. Now, it's back to Andrew and Judah.
Hey now.
Welcome back. We have Bob Forrest here in the studio with us from VH1 Celebrity Rehab, and also a great musician.
I gotta tell you, I've never seen Celebrity Rehab, but I'm gonna watch it now, because you're a fun guy.
Oh, really?
There we
Wait
go.
till we start shooting a week from Monday.
We've got a call I want to add in. We're coming to the top of the hour, and we're going to start with Joe, and hopefully we can keep him through the break.
And then
Joe, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, Joe. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Welcome to KLEAN Radio.
Thanks. I thought this was the Howard Stern show.
Yeah, we do like to have fun.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Right?
I was gonna call in and go Baba Booey, Baba Booey.
I like that.
So hey, you guys are great, man. You sound great. Hey, I wanted to ask you guys. So look, you know, I go through treatment, right? I stay in 30, 60, 90 days or whatever. What do I do when I get out of treatment to keep from like going back to the old life? You know, how do I? What do I, especially if I'm not, say I'm not into the whole AA thing, what do I do to stay connected to support system? What do you guys do?
Well, whether you go the 12-step route or the regular route, I think it's about hanging around with healthier people than you did when you were drinking and taking drugs. Usually when you're drinking and taking drugs, you're hanging around with people that are ill like you. And so the idea is to gravitate towards people who are doing things in life, who have goals, who are healthier, and the 12-step world seems to be that world that organized in an organized way. And I think that's why it's so beneficial.
Right.
So you believe in fellowship in 12-step
I
programs?
believe that you need to be around people who challenge you and are honest with you and are striving for things themselves and are personally honest and have integrity. And that's not in the drug and drinking world.
Do you think that people move through that Do you think that you can get past going to 12-step meetings? That you can surround
obviously
yourself
people
with
do.
sober,
I mean,
healthy-
I have an argument about it. I just asked. You went last Sunday. You went last Wednesday. I went last Thursday. You're the guy who believes in it the most, Judah, and you're the longest having not gone to a meeting.
Oh, I said that because I'm from Brooklyn. No, I mean, let me.
No, on the way
let's make
down
this
here,
clear.
you're
No,
arguing
let's make
about
this clear.
everything.
Let's make this clear. I do have a certain amount of time sober. I'm not bragging, but it's in the double digits, and it is so.
That's months.
It is. It's like 11 days, and
Today, brother, you got today.
I got today. We all got
Today is the
24
most
hours.
But don't you think it's about health? It's about mental health. It's about physical health. It's about life health, and that's what.
Yeah, I think for me it's about getting on with your life.
It's a bridge back to life.
Yeah.
Oh, we can talk about that after the break.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a break.
We have two. We'll hang on to Joe, and we'll have Lily coming up in the next hour too.
Yep. So we're gonna take a break, and we're gonna come back with Joe, and then we have some other calls. So, but also feel free to call in on 877-830-830. This is Clean Radio, and we'll welcome you back in just a couple seconds. Here we are back again. And Joe, you still on the line?
I'm still on the line.
Oh, so did we answer your question? I believe your question was, what do you do after treatment?
The idea being you got to do. Listen, if your life is kind of dominated by drugs and alcohol, and you go to rehab and you stop and you return back to home, you're gonna have to fill that time and that focus on something. And I think goals and being around healthy people and all this kind of stuff, the 12-step world it wins by default. I asked you on the way down here. It wins because it's free. It wins because it's everywhere. It wins because it's by default.
Joe, are you sober yourself, or?
I am, yeah.
What do you find works for you?
You know what? I agree 100% with most of what you guys say. I go to 12-step meetings a couple of times a week, sometimes, usually maybe once a week, twice a week. But I surround myself with sober people, and I surround myself with people that have the same kind of ideals and the same kind of goals that I do. Surround myself with people that are honest, have integrity, and that works for me. Nobody that I know hangs out in bars, and not that hanging out in bars is a bad thing, but I'm in my late 40s, so hanging out in bars, kind of,
Watch the drink with a lot of people that were in their 40s. Right?
But anyway, I surround myself with people and do things like, I play poker a lot with a bunch of guys, and that's what we do for sort of sober entertainment, So, that's how I do it. So I was just kind of interested to see what you guys do, if maybe you guys do something a little differently than I do. And
well, I made a decision when I got sober, and I wanted to do what I found fun. Now, I didn't know really what was fun when I got sober, but I wasn't going to be limited because if there was alcohol there. I love going to sporting events. I love going to concerts. So for me, I learned how to do it, and I love it.
I call it. Here's what I think. I want to seize life by the throat and live it. I've only got 20 to 25 or 30 more years left, and I wasted 20 of them. I wasted 10 of them for sure, just sitting in bathrooms. So I really want to live, and part of what turns me off about the 12-step world is more about fear and not living and staying to a structure and a dogma and a weird fear proselytizing world.
I have a whole theory on why that is, though. And I think a lot of it is because, when I got sober in Brooklyn and I used to talk about my dreams and a lot of things, a lot of people weren't living their dreams and they were jealous, and they were like, they were stuck in their world, and they were, so whenever I would say, this is what I want to do, they would say, well, you can't do that.
Well, Joe, I really
do.
I'm sorry.
I see that too, and for some people, it seems like AA becomes almost an addiction, and they're stuck in there, and they're not living their life on the outside.